In such a weird year, when the world has stopped due to a pandemic and the humankind has had to assess how to deal with isolation and to do as many activities at home as possible, we have for the first time the online version of Pordenone Silent Film Festival, which is considered the most important festival devoted to silent films and that has existed for almost 40 years. It started being held in September 1982 when a small group of friends organized the three-day festival in response to the 1976 Friuli earthquake that had devastated much of northern Italy. The festival was a pioneering event in the beginning, and it has been pioneering now, with the initiative of holding the counterpart of a large cinema festival online due to a pandemic that impacted the entire world, and for a while it was particularly harsh with the northern of Italy itself. As it is the case with all pioneering initiatives, nobody was certain about the results of an online festival of silent films with attendees of all parts of the world. But it truly worked. With the usual careful selection of films, mixing rarities and non-films from a plenty of countries, Pordenone didn't really fail in providing immersion for the audiences. In addition to the films, there were also lectures about the films themselves and silent film music. Pordenone Masterclasses is when the musicians of the festival talk to the audience about their work, which is a rare opportunity to increase the understanding of the films themselves. Another pleasant surprise was that, together with the introductions of the films, the audience could see the work of film archives in some countries, and it was fascinating to have an introduction on how films were restored, to see their facilities, the employees working, the reels on the shelves. It's a dream for every fan of history of cinema. It's an interesting bridge between past and present, and context is also important to the understanding of silent films, especially for the new generations. They also have an event called Collegium, which is, according to the festival website, to attract new, young generations to the discovery of silent cinema and to infiltrate these newcomers into the very special community that has evolved around the Giornate during its 3 decades. It is designed to take advantage of the unique conditions of the Giornate, a highly concentrated one-week event, the possibility to see an extensive collection of rare archival films, the presence in one place and at one time of many, perhaps most, of the world's best qualified experts in film history, scholars, historians, archivists, collectors, critics, academics, and just plain enthusiasts. On the technical side, the films were shown through an Italian platform that worked really well. The films could have their intertitles translated both into Italian and English and were available for 24 hours to be watched. After this time, the films were no longer available. An interesting detail is that there was an interface in each film that reproduced the chairs of a real-life cinema that showed how many people were watching the films at the same time as you. One interesting detail is that the audiences could take a peek on the beauty of Pordenone City in the introduction of films. Artistic director Jay Weisberg made all introductions and was straightforward and informative. It was an interesting way to have some contact with the Italian cities and their culture. Of course, that nothing replaces the real-life experience of attending the screening of a film with live accompaniment, to get together with fellow silent film fans, the networking, but the production made sure that audiences had an as close to real-life experience as possible. For example, right in the first day, there were 9 travelogues produced between 1911 and 1939, shown under the name The Urge to Travel, which demonstrated that, despite being a festival related to the history of cinema, Pordenone Silent Film Festival is also in touch with the current events. This bridge between past and present is very important to contextualize silent films to new audiences and show them that the understanding of silent films helps to figure out the world as it is nowadays. The experience that those travelogues provided was truly awesome. Some of them were filmed in such a way as if you were walking down the street with the people who were being filmed, and it gave a very interesting feeling of traveling in a time machine. That was really touching because the audiences witnessed an era that has been gone for a long time, and it was only the first round of films of the first day. Afterwards, there were rare films from countries like China, Greece, and even lesser-known films of the United States, together with classics. All in all, Pordenone Silent Film Festival got to keep up with its high standards and not only provided films, but also experiences to the audiences. They could experience travels in time machines, they could listen to scholars talking, watch the films. Variety was also thought of, and the films were really interesting and the music was awesome. The festival is a very worthwhile experience, even for those who are not hardcore fans of silent films, especially because after an entire week being in touch with those films, it is likely that you will end up becoming a fan too.